Stale Weather, a novella by Valentin Bira. Full text provided for your entertainment and edification. The secret of a good old age is simply an honorable pact with solitude. Gabriel Garcia Marquez. That day, the weather was stale. If I would have looked at the sky through a magnifying glass, I would have seen just nothing at all. No easily distinguishable shapes. The clouds in the sky were spread evenly, as it happens quite often in the twilight of winter. The whiteness of the sky could have been blinding to the point of exasperation, or so I do recollect. My studio room was reasonably tidy. The floor having been vacuumed a week ago, the greasy bench top was awaiting a good scrub. The dishes were all in good order, yet at the bottom of the sink were lying about 24 used tea bags. On the floor, near the bed, yesterday's socks and trousers. On the desk, the ashtray was 3/4 full. I still had the lungs to chain smoke, yet my teeth, they were feeling the pain, sharply. That was about all that was messy in the apartment. All in all, a little dusty, but that wasn't anything I could have dealt with. The shower and toilet were also in perfect order, squeaky clean. Some traces of talc powder on the bathroom floor, but I was planning to deal with that half an hour before the next property inspection. I had 2 $5 notes and 3 golden coins, so I went shopping for mustard and mayo. I checked out 2 jars in a tube. Eventually, I could only pay for 1 mayo and the mustard. I guess I did get lazy that morning and went shopping where the bourgeois do their groceries, much closer to my place of dwelling than your average markets. On my way back, I felt the cold. I only had 2 layers on me, and the jacket was thin. Plus, I had my head shaved to 0 about 5 days before. Old Buddhist custom, you see. If one is able to estimate the rate of growth of one's hair, one would, in theory, be able to estimate the progress they are making during meditation and night vigils, things like that. You know, night vigil, that sort of vibration that many people know about, yet nobody really explains it properly. Explain the Orthodox liturgy, explain Zazen, explain the human mind, explain how come the moon is made out of cheese, explain how come NBA is made out of cheese, explain how come Netflix is made out of cheese. Explain how come we keep silent when we should not. Explain to me what happens to the light in my fridge. Enumerate the vowels of the Arabic language. Go count your blessings instead of sheep. Prudishness in itself is nothing else but circumcision of the heart, yet exactly like the Holy Communion. Prudishness forbids we receive what life gives us in hand, or in pocket, for what it's worth. And so the Lord came down from heaven to see me. He looked for me. He asked for me. "Where are you?" he inquired. And the Lord told me, "You have not incurred my wrath," the Lord said, "so I will be able to see you again." Back in my day, the man told me that morning, "You just had a bit of a laugh. Then you put these things behind." He continued then, "You altogether forget everything and move on," he continued, "until you catch a glimpse of those things again. And the things all of a sudden start making sense altogether. Yet that process should take a few decades." And then he walked slowly away, leaving behind a speck of dust within my lonely soul. It's been 3 months already, and I am barely maintaining my equilibrium on my 2 feet. Various people are clearly observing this, yet they'd obviously imagine I'm one of those patients presenting some weird form of neurological condition. As a fact, I am not. As a fact, all of these side effects are medication-induced. By this time, I wish I could walk properly, I wish I could talk properly, and I wish I could smile properly. Various nurses and support staff throw all the rubbish they can get into my psychiatric file. I sit on a chair all day long with a blank stare. There's nobody that could visit me. That's the thing. My mom lives across the Tasman Sea. Of course, she does call daily, sometimes twice or 3 times per day. She speaks with the nursing staff too. What on earth got me in there, I think to myself. I was never a public danger. Me? A public danger? Things just don't add up if you ask me honestly. Yet, suddenly, there's good news. I am to be discharged in a week's time. I feel too weak to jump for joy, yet that's precisely what I feel like doing right now. What did Mr. Colio have in mind when presenting to us Veronica Decides to Die? Maybe I should read that one again. Maybe he nailed it better than me 35 years ago. 35 years ago. And he nailed better than me. Mental health reform. What does that even mean? Mental health reform. Is it the same as saying that I own an 8-star mansion on the moon, which I bought from my buddy Elon Musk, and half a year I'm off going skiing on planet Pluto? Is that what mental health reform is supposed to mean? Personally, I'm a little bit in disbelief this could have happened to me. 8 years ago, I had a job, and I was becoming a semi-reputable rising academic. These days, I'm a second-class citizen. These are strong words. Second class. What could in fact trigger me into saying I'm second class? I cannot quite grasp this. The answer to this question, everybody is lonely after the terrible COVID-19 epidemic. If loneliness was the measure of second class, we'd all be second class. People are still in terrible anguish and desperation. Each one of us, yet especially younger adults. Peer pressure is highly visible and highly prominent in times of anguish and loneliness. Yet I'm a second-class citizen. I have a curfew at night when my medication support drops by, and I must present myself to my fortnightly compulsory depot. Heaven knows what they inject me with. My situation is a lot like that of a prison inmate. It's just that I'm on a thing called the Mental Health Act, which is actually enforced by police. No worries about that. So one could say that I'm actually a borderline criminal. A borderline criminal. Is that what my grandparents dreamt for me when they were raising me up? Tell that to them now, if they were still alive. Your grandson is a borderline criminal, ma'am. We just have to snatch him from his home from time to time because he refuses to comply with the medication regime, you see. In any case, if it isn't broken, why fix it, the saying goes. I got the poison, I got the remedy, the story goes. If it is in fact healthy, why poison it in the first place? Beyond any form of exaggeration, a day like that was the epitome of being usual. Not at all out of the ordinary, and overall a tad boring. There was nothing to do, the laundry basket was only a quarter full, and there were enough bites in the fridge. The kitchen shelf had about 12 boxes of instant soup. I had enough slabs of cheese and about 4 bottles of bottled water, together with 3 liters of blackcurrant fruit juice. The Brother printer was offline. The dust on the small electronic piano keys was accumulating at a fast rate. That's a pianist joke, I guess. Way too much dust on the keys. Guess I should be playing more often. The sleek instrument calls me. It feels neglected and unbearably forgotten. Time for a psychedelic trip down memory lane. Memories are stored within a man's heart, and the heart remembers those memories at a slow pace in a random fashion. I somehow believe it to be our duty to fill our hearts with goodness and mild benevolence, for we are what we become. And why not become something good? Why not become something we are proud of? Yes, you only are what you fill yourself with. So fill yourself with goodness. Eventually, any pain you may experience will be gone. Any ache of the soul will vanish without a trace. That's a guarantee. An elusive fact of life. What will remain instead will be in fact those traces of the good, bittersweet stuff synthesized by the good, benevolent things you have ever done. Amanda saw that thing in me. She was always amazed at the things I used to say. She was baffled how I could joke and display my wit so sharply while finding myself half asleep altogether. That was Amanda Cameron, 3 parts deeply and profoundly observant, 1 part shy and submissive. She did see my potential in all the things I used to say, so she smiled cheeky in disbelief and amazement. Tara Elizabeth did not see my potential. I was always going out of my way to impress her profoundly, yet I tried to also keep my composure and don't display my feelings in an obvious manner. I explained to her pictorially how come the summation of 1/2 to the n is actually getting closer and closer to 2. She sat quietly and tried to understand. A week later, she told me she finally understood, and she also mentioned she felt like she was going to pass that first-year introductory course. That was Tara Elizabeth Betham, an elusive type of being, a light and ticklish presence. Her sense of humor was out of the ordinary. Her sweetness went through the roof. Always, no exception. Freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose. I felt as empty as a drum that day. The choice is easy when there's little left to choose. The road ahead is much easier when you're light, merry, and gay. I had a brief power nap with the clock on snooze. Afternoon naps were for those rich and secure people, I guess, yet I used to do it out of sheer boredom. The thought of her kept coming back again and again. I kept playing melancholic songs and dwelled in my sorrow in a mild, smooth type of manner. I let that linger for a long while. Somehow, I could feel her presence in the shades. She was here, with me, whispering in my ear a song of love, tenderness, and compassion. Tara showed deep disapproval at me breaking up with Amanda. She called me shallow. I used to confide in her all the time, with a great courage and little sense of precaution. I once told her I was deeply afraid of commitment, deeply afraid of marriage, as I deeply thought old age would bring a lot of sorrow in my life. She called me shallow again. Tara told me once she felt that I didn't really love the women in my life, that I was a selfish bugger. She said she thought all I really loved was the things they could do for me. I didn't hold grudge. I appreciated the honesty. Honesty was always something I cherished deeply. There were plenty of things to fear in those days, all around me. Yet that day I wasn't afraid. I was ready to go all the way. I was ready to say all of those things that nobody is allowed to say. I was ready to utter the undeniable truth. The truth of the dungeons below us. The truth of you, my affable pursuer, my old, gentle, and kind enemy. A killer in the disguise of an all-knowledgeable mentor. An affable tormentor. A well-versed murderer. The delphinium on the lapel of your aged and worn-out coat screams for your soul, you bitter fool. Forget me not. Just follow the age-old recipe. Do not critically think for yourself. Do not inquire. Do not analyze. Just do it. For heaven's sake, just do that and keep quiet and disciplined in your own disgusting activity. My soul for a slab of gold, you said, and behold, it came true. Be careful what you're wishing for, the story goes. Be careful what your wishes are. Be careful what you present to Mephisto himself. I happened to be there, walking and talking in my sleep. Perhaps I was in fact the fool. Perhaps I should have stopped what was to come. Perhaps the hand of fate was too strong for my elusive hand grip. So, when you actually did come by here, for her or for me, deep down inside you did know your enemy was deeply asleep, and his woman was lonely, available, and free. The weather improved a great deal in the afternoon. The small, tiny city was getting a tad warmer. the streets started to fill with passers-by that just went around, minding their business in the shops, cafes, and cafeterias. I went out too, just to the gas station across the street. I did forget about the depleted boxes of tea bags that could usually ubiquitously be found in my kitchen cupboard. I'm a tea addict of strong persuasion, you see, since my Buddhist faith forbids even the smallest drop of booze. Booze gets highly addictive, you see, after the first proper half-a-day zazenkai. So for a practicing Buddhist, that's a huge no, thank you, kind sir. Those tea bags just had to be there if I was to do something, anything, that afternoon, so I went for a stroll. Plus, that was an excellent opportunity for a no-doubt pleasantly walk in the sunshine. Who could just refuse a walk in the sunshine in such a light manner? I simply spared no opportunity at bathing in the warm sunlight that seemed to be following my footsteps, wherever I went and wherever I may have roamed. We sheltered from the cold of the winter night, yet the cold followed us within my tiny studio apartment. It's cold here, too. Within the darkness spoiled by a speck of light, naked phantoms, just us. Her naked arms held me in a tight embrace. Her tiny legs curled around my body. In the morning I woke up alone. I guess she must have left while I was still asleep. There was an air of silence in my room. I received a text message from her at about noon. She asked, frightened, if we used a condom. She thought we must have did, but just to double check. Just to double check. By the time I kicked the pig in the crotch area, they got me extremely drowsy. They kept using their tasers on me again and again. I keep thinking this now. If the pigs were armed with fire weapons in the Commonwealth of Australia, perhaps I would not be here with you today. They claimed I was loitering in front of the nearby supermarket just hours ago. I woke up maybe a dozen times on a hospital bed. My mom was waiting in the waiting room outside. Somehow I was aware of that. Yet she could not help me. Not a tiny bit. She just kept sitting there, worrying about the critical state of my condition. I had a tiny hose stuck through my penis and one through my nose, pumping in something that they claimed to be oxygen. To this day, I think they were pumping something else in me. Next, I woke up in a hospital ward where I spent the next 2 months doing just nothing. Just nothing. Turns out her friends, especially her male friends, did not like me too much, and they liked our relationship much less. They used to tease her in a mean fashion about the difference in age between us. Wouldn't it be nice, she once told me, if there was just the two of us here on Earth? Yes, that would have been nice. That would have been just perfect, I realize this now. I didn't reply. I should have said something right then. I think this now. Perhaps I should have said that this daily struggle of ours has a deeper meaning than just our egos, that there was something much deeper in everything we do than our personas. That would have been a good reply, I think. By that time, Amanda Cameron and I were office mates, both working on our thesis. Yes, I've read Stephen King, I told Amanda. A tiny bit commercial, but not over the top. Otherwise, I was a little young when I read his 2 masterpieces, and so I did not pay attention to the phrase structure and the style of writing. But I wouldn't go as far as calling his stuff light. I then mentioned Harry Potter, and she said that was in fact really good. Then our warm, interesting conversation got interrupted. One of her students walked inside our office, and she did seem to have a lot of questions. Tara was very much the person I would confide upon. I spared nothing at all. My heart was as open and as transparent as a 4-page piece of poetry. I once told her I was, within myself, very scared of dying. Even the thought of it made me tremble. She said she did not perceive that fear. She said she wasn't in the hurry of going away, as she did enjoy her time over here. But the thought of dying didn't scare her that much. Amanda confirmed that was the case. She did hear that story too, as it turns out. They were both voracious readers, I would have thought. So which eye did you lose, Mr. Rushdie? I'm asking this to myself right now. Which eye was it? That's Satan coming after your best belongings. Guess you should take good care of the other one, really now, and do what you're doing best. The sun was shining on my electronic keyboard, making the dust on each of the keys a lot more visible. I kept quiet, awaiting an evening as frail, elusive, and fragile as a human life. As this human life of ours. It was a Friday or so, I believe. I wiped the dust on the corner of my desk. It was dust mixed with cigarette ashes. The tempo of the day was mild and light, not too bad for a Friday. Friday. Everyone was happy they were about to encounter a relaxing weekend, I guess. By 3:30 in the afternoon, the clouds were back on the sky's canopy, while the wind was blowing as hard as ever. We were expecting rain now. I did eventually pull my window drapes. The scarce light stepped tenderly inside my room, lighting a speck of dust that was hovering in the air. I guess it is possible to love two women. It is entirely possible. Who am I kidding? I probably loved much more than two within my average length lifespan. I really don't perceive the contradiction here, in case there should be any contradiction at all. Each one of them had that something that only belonged to her. I'm not talking here the manner of speech, the smile, the color of eyes, or the hips, or the way they used to walk. I'm talking soul here, pure spirit. That's something that only belonged to each one of them. Tara was a redhead with green eyes. About 1.65 tall, or so I do recollect. Another reason to keep our friendship in the shades. I am a tall dude, you see, and within her greenish eyes there lied a cheekiness seldom to be seen, a sense of humor I have rarely encountered anywhere else. She said I should shave my small beard, and I refused in a gentle manner. "You're feeling a lot manlier?" she asked. I did not respond. I laughed heartily. She giggled too. Yes, she kept everything about us in the shade. I was never invited to her friends' parties, and she did change the topic abruptly whenever I did express the intention to talk to her friends. She did come back recently from a snowboard extended vacation in Canada, where she had worked at Subway and snowboarded the rest of the day, all winter long. She confessed her work at Subway got her fully stuffed with sweet cookie dough. Not half as sweet as you, I love, I thought to myself. Yet I didn't share this elusive thought. I guess in life, there's many things we wished we shared until it was too late to do that. The fact that she did travel extensively like this to another realm made her a somewhat distinguished Kiwi. So deep down inside, I knew she felt there was nothing highly unusual about our friendship. Yes, she was 21. I was 29. She was 1.65 tall. I was 1.88. She was a first-year geology student working hard towards passing her introductory courses. I was a math graduate student, working on my thesis and tutoring classes on the side. She was from around here, basically. I was from over the seas and far away. In any case, I kept still and quiet in my studio apartment. There was a phone call from my friend that evening. She said she listened to the Orthodox liturgy. She also said she did get the overall idea, but she couldn't quite understand it fully. Well, who knows what the future may bring, I told her. When I've last seen her, she did not look like an ill person. I guess appearances are in fact deceiving. She complained of severe pain in her arms. She said she could not lift them entirely. Her once very fast pace in walking did slow down significantly. She did not lose weight though, and her appetite for food was pretty good. Her cancer torn my heart inside. I was also acting cowardly, scared to death to ask how she was doing or what exactly the doctors were telling her. I was in a state of fatigue myself, and her own illness brought down a layer of depression within myself. I cannot say I was overly sad about life in general, yet I was fighting a small dose of sloth and torpor, and I was trying hard to maintain my optimism about what the future could have brought for the two of us. What will I do without her? What on earth could I have done without the beneficial presence of my own mother? 4:49 in the afternoon, and the rain started. As expected, I shut my window and took advantage of the small little drops of rain to take out the garbage. The garbage bin was third-quarter full. The guys were to pick it up next morning, I guess. I used to watch them as they did their job with a great sense of precision, and I had a lot of admiration for them. It's those people that truly matter in the overall economy, not us intellectuals. I used to think I could never do a job like that my knees were somehow too weak for those heavy loads, each to their own trade, I guess. I did jobs in the past, all sorts, and some of them I'd done them well. I think I could be proud of myself. I'm thinking this now. The thing is, I was not always a very lenient judge to the way I was performing my duties. That is to say, I was always hard on myself, very pedantic, a true perfectionist. There's terms and conditions to being alive, I think. There's terms and conditions to dwelling in the world. I'd think some form of social contract has to be apria, so I will have more fear of the disappearance. But now, yet the pursuit of personal happiness is what brings us all together, in this quest for meaning, in this medium-length journey of ours on this planet. In our average, prosaic, and usual lives, the true way leading to true love is being good, generous, and kind to the beings around us. This truth is clear as daylight to me right now, as we speak. And the perennial, sublime, and supreme truth is this: never ask yourself what your needs are. Ask, rather, where exactly is it that you are needed the most? What was my purpose in this world? I asked myself, while my socks and trousers lay there on the floor. What was my supreme tikkun? I asked myself. But I knew the answer to that question already. My tikkun was to help those in most need for help. The Lord has chosen to reveal himself to me. He does usually hide in the small things, but to me he did reveal himself. There's nothing to lose to believe in yourself. There's nothing to lose to believe in God. That's Pascal's wager, I guess. My empty room was altogether lacking something, a presence. There was too much absence in myself, in my life. I myself was often absent, too. There did exist, in fact, drops of mindfulness here and there. I kept to myself, mostly. I tried to be pleasantly polite to people approaching me, yet I did seek solitude within myself. That way, the true and unabstaken way, nobody would have complained about my potential obnoxious behavior. People are weird in that way. Weakness is something they are able to smell and perceive quite easily, and they do speculate weakness. Gautama Siddhartha strongly recommends the practice of solitude in the Dhammapada. He must have thought this was the true and unmissable path to true happiness. And I do agree. The evening was coming upon me. The winter being almost over, I could not have reported an unbearable coldness or anything of the sort in my room, just stillness and solitude. I needed music. Perhaps have a try at playing the keyboard, maybe not. A few good quality books were as a fact waiting for me on the bookshelf above my desk. About half of them were on the topic of modern-day witchcraft, a quarter on the topic of Buddhism, and the rest reference manuals and textbooks. I was particularly fond of Taschen's Book of Symbols. That was truly an impressive output of human thought and creativity. Yet, I didn't feel too much like reading either. My mind was dwelling in torpor and laziness. I opened my internet browser, then opened YouTube and played a tune I liked very much. The song was Diamonds and Rust by Joan Baez. I found that tune to be quite deep and especially suitable to my melancholic mood and overall disposition. My temperament has always been moist. Yes, I'm the watery type. Couple that with a sense of depth and an inclination for dreaming. Couple it with a total disinterest toward the way I looked and the way I was perceived by other people. Couple it with a total lack of interest in fashion, perfumes, hairstyles, shoes, and accessories. Couple that with a state of perfect contemplation, yet those days I was also practicing mindfulness with a great yet humble precision. I was deeply attentive to everything. I was paying careful attention to any sense-given datum that was entering into my space. I was trying to keep this flow to a steady pace. I guess my days of drinking coffee were long over by now. I was giving myself over to strong black tea entirely. Of course, I could enjoy a flat white in the city center once in a while. Everything within measure, I did think to myself. And that was inherently true. Everything within measure. The pain within my severely damaged denture meant I was to have no fizzy drinks either. Never ever. Sugar overload was something to be avoided at all cost. So I was having my tea black. I did not trust the quality of the dairy too much in those days, and I did not add sugar at all. So the tea was black, concentrated, and extremely bitter. Yet that was something that kept me going after hours too. It kept going on and on. Those nights of vigil were short. Sometimes I did in fact play the keyboard instrument. I would then master those tracks on the computer sharply and upload the result online. I had a smart system, and the efficiency of the day and age technology worked in my favor. There wasn't any doubt about it by then. I was 100% a night person by then. I don't know. I just could focus better at night, with little background noise around. Noise was always something I was highly sensitive to, together with sharp sunlight and overpopulated crowds. I guess I was the quiet type by now, secluded, deep down in a secluded dark chamber within myself. But also deep down within a quiet corner of my own dark silent chamber in central Wellington City. Did I live purely on memories those days? It is hard to say, really. To some extent, maybe. To some extent, I was not anymore an event going to happen. The gray hair around the sides of my head was reaching further and further each year, and the winter of my soul was slowly approaching. Tara Betham left a deep imprint within that intimate corner of my being. When I thought about her, I was a tad nostalgic, coupled with a deep, subtle aroma of happiness. I was so crazy about her back in the day that 3 years earlier, I eventually decided to return to Wellington just so that I could see her again. Yet, within the shadows of our city, all along the wide alleys of Lambton Quay, up the hill at the university, inside the takeaway restaurants on Courtney Place, or around the fashion stores on Cuba Street, or around the deserted alleys of Newtown, or around the beautiful hills of Hatatai, she was not to be found anywhere in this city. Nowhere. Anywhere. Yet, her shadow followed me from time to time, like in that mild September evening when, trying hard to keep to myself and avoid intrusive thoughts or intrusive, insidious people, I fell asleep and dreamt about her tight, warm embrace, squeezing me to the state of atom or molecule, awaiting perhaps the end of time so we could be together once more. I spoke to the man that evening in Perth just as if he was some sort of a politician, and I did somehow belong to his caucus. My knowledge of things in general was very limited in those days. Then the man spoke to me, and I listened. I came here to visit you. You seem to be in distress, so I thought I'd check on you. It's for you, really. Don't overanalyze this. On this one, you don't overanalyze, he said. Suffice to say that everything that was ever written is in fact on this present subject. Pages, paragraphs, vowels and consonants, video footage, radio interviews, all the good stuff, it is all on this present topic. And I do read, watch, and listen to all of them. Well, truth be told, most of them. I have most of them in view. I know there was no way you'd know, but I tell you now, have courage. Why all the distress? Truth be told, I've seen much worse. I am far from content with the state of this city of mine. I'm very far from being content. But I've seen much worse in the past. Well, that always seemed to be a tough question, and I always recollect it as reoccurring, time and time again. Dear Valentine, the secret to a happy marriage is not to bring the third person inside, he said. Not even in your wildest dreams. Not even within your most intimate fantasies. Not a third person. That's all. I knew the man was right. I never asked myself why. Sometimes a good old recipe, a good commandment that would ensure complete success, shadows over any sense of analysis and inquiry. Have you ever played Twister? He concluded. It isn't against the rules of the game to fall. But why would you, Valentine? Why would you fall on purpose? Yet I was there. I was there, lucky that I was breathing, and I felt grateful for that very fact. That Wellington evening was smooth and quiet, like a reflection of my empty, still mind. I had plenty of soup boxes in the cupboard. The tea bags were there too. There was an air of warmth and coziness in my small place of dwelling. It is completely and entirely funny and ironic at the same time how things aren't missing that much these days. Somehow, I always have what I need. The rent payments are always up to date. The bills are also in order. While the food tastes much better when I share it, a cigarette tastes much better when I also give one away. I must have done something right, I was thinking, since the goddess of fate turned her smiling, bright, happy face towards me. And there I sat, at my desk, awaiting my friend Jonah so we could have dinner together. I'd cook for him, as food tastes much better when shared. This should really be in the Dhammapada, I think, and in case it isn't, I think I'll just add it myself. I'll scribble this piece of wisdom somewhere on a blank page. On that evening 15 years before, I was happy too, though a little disconcerted I could not find work that easily. The interview with Statistics New Zealand went excellent, or so I did think, though I missed one question in database theory. The question pertained to two queries attempting a connection at exactly the same time. The trick, as it turned out, was to add a random delay to the query time, indefinitely. The job application came back unsuccessful. And there I was, ready to flee for Australia. Greener pastures, much more opportunities altogether, I thought to myself, perhaps in a foolish manner altogether. Was it all worth it? I could not help myself thinking this. All of these years, these hard years of giving all I got, of nothing else but blood, sweat, and tears, all of these hard years, not to mention all of these past 4 months, secluded in my apartment, doing nothing at all but drafting my thesis, switched on to it precisely in the mode of a perpetuum mobile. It was hard work, no doubt about it. The final product was up to scratch. I had no doubt about that either. But was it all worth it? Well, that's a good question. The question isn't about the worth of one's work, that much. The question is the worth of the time spent on doing these things, days, weeks, months, years, decades. Yes, I still ask myself now, was it all worth it? Yet in order to answer this, if an entire life's endeavor was worth it, one has to tell me what life is. They must tell me what life means, what the purpose of life is. What does it mean to be alive? Why on earth are we here on this planet? And then, if one answers that particular question, they'd know automatically if an endeavor was worth it or not. No, I'm far from prejudiced or racist. That's why I'm sometimes using explicit language in my works, because I'm totally aware any human being could relate. I'm entirely open-minded. As all good things, stories come to an end too. And how about these guys? They always weather the storm, to use a rather provocative metaphor. Yes, they absolutely always weather the storm. Always. Even when they're getting into Masonic sleep. So much you can do. So much one dude can do, you'd probably say. Yet if you say that very thing, I'll have to tell you that you simply don't know who exactly you're fucking with. I personally have the intuition of them. I know them intimately. I know who they are. And I am telling you now, in a forthright manner, you simply don't know who these dudes are. So how are those Kiwi people over there in New Zealand? Auntie Annie asked me years after this when I visited my home again. Well, I said, you know, they aren't as dull as over the Tasman. In Scotland, they're a lot sharper. In Scotland, it's a lot like a hammer blow, full on. Kiwis are much sharper. Do you miss us there from time to time? She continued asking. Not really, I said. Kiwi land is my home now. All of the friends I ever had over here are now minding their own business. That's just life, I think. And when we spoke again years after that, Auntie Annie wanted to know about my problems with the law over here. Go figure. Well, that's something else, I said to her. I have citizen rights here, and if these guys are infested with rats and tarantulas, I certainly have the right to speech, and I will certainly speak loudly against it. I wish it was all about us, I told Tara Batum on the day we departed. I wish it was just about us, yet it isn't. And, in very funny way, I think I was right. These things have a higher meaning altogether. Everything we experience has a higher meaning. Perhaps the meaning of it all is the welfare of all sentient beings. Perhaps that is the meaning of our lives. The evening finally fell upon us, and I spoke like a true genius. Farewell, I said, and it's likely I'll see you at a bridge and whist club one day, who knows? She wished me best of luck. Well, I'm Romanian, I said. That's just like being Irish, except we essentially pretend to be unlucky. That's all there is to it. That's all it is to being Romanian. And when we parted, she did send me a brief flash of her smile and a final glare. Like a drop of water in a winter storm, like a feather in the summer air. Speaking strictly for me, we both could have died, then and there. But my hand was made strong by the hand of the Almighty. My hand was made strong by the hand of the Almighty.